processes that you went through being on our show. And I'm grateful for everything that you've shared with the listening audience today. Hey everybody, how are you doing today? You made it for another It Starts With Me. I'm so glad to have you here. Remember, It Starts With Me is every single Wednesday at 12:30. Today we have an awesome guest here with us. It is Ann Brown. She is the Wellbeing coach of Heal Thyself Transformational Coaching. You're going to love the way that she gives description after description of how she went through the processes of healing herself and successfully came out on the other side. You're going to take a lot away from this. Go get your notepads and your pens because you're going to want to write down the stuff that she's saying. All right, but first off, let me tell you about the other shows that we have. Every single Monday, we have a show with Michael Seville. It's on Michael Seville's YouTube channel. That show is called What It Takes. And every Friday, you'll be here for Community Beacon with myself and Michael Seville. And of course, you know about today, it's all about It Starts With Me. All right, without any further delay, let me tell you about Ann Brown. Ann Brown is, she is a burnout pandemic. She believes in burnout is a pandemic and something that Ann is very passionate about. And despite extensive care as a nurse, the nature of the profession presupposed that she put the needs of others first, and she herself succumbed to burnout. What was that? She was a medical-oncology nurse for 17 years. And that's when she ended up becoming the CEO and founder of Heal Thyself Transformational Coaching. As a nurse, well-being coach, and a speaker and entrepreneur, she found out all of these different things. And she has taken her years of knowledge, skills, living experience, and insight, distilled it into a system with a holistic approach that takes care of self and soul, sustaining awareness and action to guide exhausted female nurses to transform their burnout so that they don't just survive, but thrive. She would quote, in Maya Angelou's words, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style." Welcome, Ann Brown, to the It Starts With Me show.
Hi.
How is your day coming along?
So far so good. It's sun's shining here and it's not super cold, so it's been a good day.
Awesome. And where is that again?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Ooh, it's chilly. That's why you got that sweater on, huh?
Got like 2 layers of cuddle duds and
Hold on, what'd you call that again?
they're cuddle duds. It's like a thermal underwear kind of brand, but they've got like fleece and everything else. Yeah. Cuddle duds.
All right. Cuddle Duds. And is that the name? Is that the brand name?
That's the brand name, yeah.
Okay.
I own them in every color.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's cool. I got to get me a Cuddle Dud.
Yes. Especially if you're in the cold area.
Yeah, well, it's not too cold down here in Florida, so I don't do too bad.
No.
As a matter of fact, I used to wear a t-shirt underneath everything, and I don't wear a t-shirt as much anymore. I'm just like, I'll be all right. I'm just not going to do it anymore. But that's when I was doing for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got layers. It's always easier to take things off and keep the house a little cooler.
Yeah, well, most Floridians and, island people, I believe that they don't understand that the best thing that you could do is wear underneath. It's not so much about how much you have on top, but like you said, it's like that inner layer. It's how much is touching your skin tightly and keeping the heat from leaving your body. That's what it comes out to.
Yeah, very true. Yep. That's funny.
Yeah.
Stuff you learn from the weather around you.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Virginia.
You know. Yes, do you guys get cold? You get the cold weather there too.
Definitely not like Philadelphia, but cold enough.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Awesome. See, happy belated birthday to you.
Yes, thank you.
That was just what, 2 months ago? or maybe even a month and a half.
And a half or so, yeah.
Yeah. What'd you do for your birthday?
Like absolutely nothing. It was great.
And the crowd goes wild.
I'm like, yes. I have some dietary restrictions, so I made myself a special cake that I could eat, and just had supper with the family, and that was it. And like, I didn't have to work. I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to that day. It was just hang out in the house all day.
Interesting. Well, before I ask you my first question, tell me a little bit more about your family. What's the family construct for you like?
Yeah, it's I am single. I live by myself, but I live 5 houses from my parents. I actually bought my grandparents' house when they passed away, and it's been a couple years of full remodels there. So I kind of can do what I want when I want, kind of thing, and that's the joy of being single. Do stuff with my sister. We're coming up with a joint venture business-wise, but hang out with my parents, go see their dog, take her for walks, stuff like that. My mom's retired. My dad still works, but we always say he's somewhat retired because he comes home usually. He does half days, like 2 or 3 days a week. So he's always home and around. That's just kind of the 4 of us. We kind of just do our thing and hang out with friends occasionally, but nothing major.
Very cool. I love that your family dynamics are so strong. When at a certain point in time, I found out that my mother was actually doing really well by me, in growth. And when I left the house, and a few years after that, her and I became like best friends.
Yeah. I've always been kind of really good friends with my mom, and we go for morning walks, when the weather cooperates. But yeah, that's kind of our thing. When I'm not working, we're out walking and doing stuff, and we cook dinner together, and yeah, it's kind of our bonding time.
Very cool. Well, I love that. I love to hear that. So you had mentioned something when I asked you about your birthday, and that I felt like it was a really good segue because, your business is all about healing yourself, the transformational coach, and what you do. And I think that's so interesting, and then also you have a history of being like an oncology nurse as well. So tell me more about like this food that you prepared directly for your body in respect to what you do.
Yeah, so I'll do a little backstory. So I've been a nurse on a medical-oncology floor for 17 years. So as you know, the nursing profession kind of is in that stressful 24/7 stress mode. Because of that, I ended up having some health issues. Got diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder and a couple other things. And with that, I've changed my diet so it's just nutrient-dense food. So I don't eat processed foods. I don't do dairy. I don't do carbs, grains. I hate to say limited, but limited by my choice. Because I know if I eat certain foods, it flares my autoimmune disease, and I don't want to have all those symptoms again. So food for me is all, more of that natural, unprocessed foods. So I sometimes am limited that way, but there's a couple brands out there for the cake and that I can use, and some of that is a little processed, but for the most part, it's just straight veggies, fruit and meat. So I'm healing myself with my foods. That's kind of the way I look at that. Like the healing process starts from the nutrition that I'm bringing in, making sure that it's healthy food and it's going to actually fuel my body versus the processed foods that kind of eat it real quick, get a little burst, and then you crash and burn, halfway through your afternoon.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this?
Since 2019. Yeah, I got my official diagnosis March of 2019. I actually made a commitment on my birthday of that year to see what happens. I'm just gonna stop, eating certain things and to see how my body feels. And best decision ever. I always joke I am a little orange tinged because carrots are like every meal almost for me. It's something that doesn't really affect me. So that is true. You eat lots of carrots, you will kind of turn a little orange. So it's just kind of a running joke. I'm like, everyone's like looking at me. I'm like, yeah, I'm orange. It's okay. I feel great being orange, so it's all good.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be so corny right here. I hope you don't mind.
Go.
Anna's going to cringe in the background, but I'm going to do it anyway. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
That
was so terrible. That was so terrible.
Like though, I remember saying that as a kid all the time. You just go back and forth, and you're like, you know exactly how it's gonna end.
Yeah. That was so corny. It wasn't even a carrot joke. It was an orange joke. I should have said carrot, but it wasn't going to make sense. I don't know. You played out differently inside of my mind.
Well, we all got a good laugh. It worked.
Except for Anna. She's in the background. She's like, oh, Joel, you did it again. Oh my gosh. You're amazing. So I love this. You know, this is your anniversary, by the way, right? I mean, March is your anniversary. 4 years you've been living this new type of lifestyle, all based off of a decision you've made 4 years ago in January, right?
Right.
And so that is absolutely awesome that you were able to do that. Thank you. Yeah, so that's absolutely awesome. So tell me a little bit more about like this decision that you made to stop eating those things that were harming you. And let me just say this part. I still have people that I love and I care about that the disease that they're dealing with has the ability of destroying their life and they won't stop. So my mind is like, what did you do to change what you eat? Mindset, everything.
Yeah, it was probably a good year of, I go into research mode. It's kind of a coping mechanism. So when I started having all these problems, it took us a good year and a half to get the diagnosis. But and nurse in me too likes to research and kind of I've learned all these things. So then seeing how you can heal a lot of autoimmune issues because you need to heal your gut, and that comes through what you're eating or what you're not eating. So it was a lot of decisions of back and forth, like, I didn't eat vegetables before my journey. I ate peas and potatoes. That was it. I took the same lunch to work every day for probably 4 years. I was very much of a habitual eater. And I realized if I wanted to make that change, I pretty much had to 180 my diet and stop eating everything that was the staple in my diet. I had a conversation with actually one of my patient's daughters, and she had been on a similar journey. So it was finding someone that kind of had that inside scoop of, yeah, it worked for me, it can work for you. So finding that person that kind of sparked that, yeah, this is the right decision. This is what my gut is telling me, no pun intended there, but what my body is telling me I really do need to do. I need to leave behind kind of those old patterns and those old foods and recognize that I can make these changes and actually get so I can feel better. I felt like crap for like a good year. Felt like someone ran me over, trying to work without, passing out. Couldn't do a flight of steps without getting short of breath. Was tired 24/7. So it was like, do I stay in that mode, or hey, I think there's a solution to this. What do I do to get to that point? So it was a process. It was, for the most part, I did do what they call, I can't think of the word now, elimination diet. So I pretty much took out everything and then eventually started adding things back. But that process itself, giving up dairy, giving up the grains in the bread, giving up chocolates, and using that verbiage, that was the biggest thing. I wasn't giving it up. I was making a choice to eat something else. I could still eat the chocolate. I can still eat the dairy products. But do I want to feel like I got ran over by a truck, or do I want to feel good? So it was recognizing that I had a choice. That was kind of the biggest mindset. I can choose to eat this I just have to deal with whatever I feel like and all the consequences that potentially are there for my health. Kind of the same thing with, some of the recommendations that are out there for nutrition and some of the things that our doctors say to us too. As a nurse, we have patients that come in all the time, non-compliant. Well, the doctor told me I probably should do it this way. And it is good to listen to your body in those instances, but to recognize that I know what to do, but why am I not doing it? And it happens with everyone, and trying to make a habit change, something even simple as, getting up and walking every day. I can choose it if that snooze button, or I can choose to get up. So once you're aware that there's something different and that something different actually is better for you and actually feels good to do, then it's a lot easier to take those action steps to kind of keep that consistent in your life. So yeah, I was choosing a better option for me. That kind of was, I guess, the theme of everything. What's the best option for me right now? Is it A? Is it B? Is it a combination of the two? And then finding people to support me. My family was great about that. The first time we went shopping for compliant food, we spent 4 hours, I think, shopping total. We spent 2.5 hours literally in one store going up and down every aisle, finding food that I could have. So having that support system, and then having the actual people around you that know what they're doing with that as well. So that was very beneficial to kind of get mentors and my own coaches to help me figure out what can I eat? How do I eat this? How do I reintroduce foods from that standpoint? So it's a lot of mental part of that. They always say 90% is the mental game, 10% is the action. But a lot of that is the awareness piece that comes with it as well.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And so it was because of the diagnosis, because of what was happening, your body was feeling out of whack and you started to go get yourself checked out. That was key, number one. Right. Is that correct?
Yeah. I almost passed out at work. It was a very stressful day. It was a very stressful week. It was right after we locally had got like 6 feet of snow on a Christmas day, and I was working, and that stresses me out anyways, and then add the physical amount. So it was one stressor after another, and I wasn't actually dealing with my stress. So me not dealing with my stress, it came out someplace, right? It came out with me having a physical issue. Like I physically made myself sick by not dealing with that stress, and what I know now was burnout. My body just had to figure out how to save myself, and that was it, causing me to have a health issue where I woke up and went, oh, I need to do something about this. So yeah, that physical issues saw tons of specialists, saw my primary doctor every month until we kind of figured it out. And I do have to say that God put the right people in my path. Certain people that he put that were like, hey, that sounds familiar like this, and actually came out less than a year and a half with a diagnosis. Most people with autoimmune diseases, it takes 6 years to diagnose. So you're going through all these issues, trying to figure out what's going on, and it's hard when you don't feel good and still trying to figure things out. But I definitely have the benefit of my nursing background, because I'm like, there's something here. I know there's something here. And it's hard, too, sometimes as the patient, you go to some of these doctors, no fault of their own, but it's a mystery. You have to figure it out. And sometimes they just can't help you find it. So you've got to kind of be proactive about a lot of this yourself. I guess that's kind of the main point, too. You have to take responsibility. You can't expect anyone else to come in and save you. You can't go to the doctor and just be like, hey, I want a pill to help me with this. You have to take that responsibility to be proactive, to maybe prevent things, and to take that first step to get things back to the way you want, so you can have that healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, that's real good. I mean, I love that you said that. You have to be responsible. You have to be proactive. Things just don't happen on their own. I love that you mentioned how, you felt as if God kind of stepped in a little bit on your behalf and brought these things to your attention. You mentioned a few other things, when you're talking about awareness. You said there was some, you were going through a lot of stress. Do you think that, the autoimmune concern or issue came first, or the stress came first, or the stress created the autoimmune issue?
Yeah, it's kind of all intertwined. But a lot of the research shows that autoimmune issues, I can't remember the exact number. It's almost, I think, 40% of people that have an autoimmune issue usually have uncontrolled stress or burnout associated with it. A lot of the autoimmune issues come from a leaky gut, and your gut health is very important. If you're under stress, when you get under stress, you get all tense and you really don't want to eat, you get nauseous, you really do have some, gut issues that come up. So kind of what we've all decided is most likely the stress. I've been a nurse for 13 years prior to that first episode, and I can tell you my nursing career has been nothing but stress for me. I wasn't processing my stress as a student. I went into that environment. I left crying every day for the first 6 months as a nurse. So I didn't learn those skills, I guess is what I'm getting at there. I didn't have skills to process stress. I probably didn't have them even from childhood. So a lifetime of stress kind of just built itself up, and out it came as an autoimmune issue. It could be something as minor as you're really getting sick all the time. You've got even just a common cold that you cannot get rid of. You've got, minor, quote unquote, minor things that are going on in your health, and you're just like, man, I can't figure this out. I've got a shoulder issue that kind of flares up when I get under stress. So there's ways that it comes out of your body if you're not processing it.
Wow. Yeah. That's powerful. And so that in the end, there was like 3 different things that you ended up doing. And one of them was just making the choice. After you became aware that, you were suffering, you just made a choice to do research into it and to figure out the who, what, when, where, why, and how. And I love that, because not only did you see that this was happening, but you took action on that.
Right.
And so like in your mind, it was what were you telling yourself during that period of, I'm reading about this discovery, during the period of discovery? What was it that just like drove you?
Yeah. I guess I wanted an answer. For a while there, I felt like I was going crazy. Was it just anxiety? And I'm like, I've had, a couple panic attacks in my life. This isn't anxiety like to me. Something else is going on. So I knew I wanted an answer. I didn't want to live the rest of my life like that. Like feeling like someone ran me over, barely able to function, and kind of muscling through every day. And I'm like, I don't want to live in this pattern at, I'm in my mid 30s. I have how many more years to live? I don't want to feel like this every day. And then to recognize too, it was a journey of figuring out physically what was going on, but also looking at more my mental, spiritual side of things as well, my mental health. I did, seek professional help with therapy, and working through that, I actually found coaching to get my coaching certificate for myself. But in the process of getting that, you're actually a student for the work. So I spent, a year and a half getting 2 certifications, and through that have worked through my own stuff, realizing how do I process stress, what works for me. And it is about, I mentioned that in your body, you have to regulate your nervous system. If you're always in fight or flight in that stress response, go, 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 your body doesn't have time to like relax and kind of regulate itself, refuel itself, and then kind of recoup from whatever is going on. And that's where the issues come up. So really learning to take that time for me to rest. I always tell people my rest equals success in my life. So I do need a nap. I'm okay to take naps. Like I recognize what those self-care practices are that work for me. That's been a huge thing, is know what they are and actually take the steps and do them. That's the hard part sometimes.
Well, that's my next question, actually. I'm so glad that you led right into that, was what were those steps that I mean, because obviously you figured out these are the things that I need to do. You sought out the help. And I love the way that you stated that. It's like you became aware and then you did more research and you pursued the answer. And because of you pursuing the answer, it's almost like doors opened up for you. And like sometimes people, they don't realize that. They don't know which way they're going. But if they continue to pursue the answer, then all of a sudden doors open up. And for you, it was like, oh, hey, listen, therapy led to coaching, led to a new career for myself, led to tools that I could use in my life. So explain more about how you utilize that or thought about the action steps and then completed them.
Yeah, a lot of it can be overwhelming. As you said, like, what direction do I go in? I have all these options. What's the best one for me? And that's where it's not always that you have to pick the right direction. You just have to pick a direction. Take a step. And even if it's the wrong step, it's a step in a direction. Fail for everyone. They're always like, oh, I'm a failure. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, that didn't. First part of that is actually figuring out what success means to you. And for me, fail is the first attempt in learning. So I like to fail because that means I'm learning in that process. So if I take a step and that didn't quite work, then I'll take a step back and try something else. For me, a lot of my self-care practices involve movement. Movement is a huge part. That's how I get the stress physically out of my body. I like to hula hoop. I like to go for walks. I was at work the other night. It's like 2 a.m. I was having a challenging time with the patient. I walked out of the room and I literally was like shaking, and everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm shaking out the energy. Like, I don't want that energy, that negative, energy in my body. So I physically shook it out. And that's, getting that stress out of my body that way. Meditation is huge for me. Prayer and devotional time, sunshine, vitamin D in my life. The days when we don't have it here in Pennsylvania, I have a sun lamp. Like, I know the things that I need now because of not having that. If I skip days for certain things, it's like, oh, I feel off. Everything's not kind of going how I would like it to go. And that's that awareness piece again. Oh, did I skip something in my morning routine or my nighttime routine? Is there something I need to add? Is it a day where I call them 3 to 5 star days? Like, some days you just need like a little meditation time. And then sometimes you need like a full spa day. That's your 5-star day where you just take, as I said, for my birthday, I did nothing. And everyone's like, really, you did nothing? I'm like, yeah, because that's what I needed that day. It's finding that ability to listen to your body and what it's saying to you. Do I need the day to just chill and do nothing? Can I have more energy today? And, for me, I just did laundry and did dishes and have those household things done. It was a day that I just go hang out with friends. So really listening to your body and what it's telling you to do and what you feel is right for you in that moment. And it's kind of silencing all those voices around you. That's been the biggest thing for me. That's something I've learned in the last 3 or 4 months. That outside influence, who are you allowing to influence you? What is those voices that are going on around you? Are they positive? If they're constantly negative, it's just going to suck you down. What you focus on is kind of what you get. So you really have to watch what you're allowing in from that standpoint as well.
Very good. I was going to ask you to go a little bit deeper into that part, and you did already. Sometimes we don't realize it, but we do need that type of help, whether it's a therapist, a mentor, a coach, or somebody, who can just help see our blind spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good to have someone to hold that space for you too. And that's been something with coaching, or some people are like, I don't get coaching. Like, I will not give you an answer. I don't have the answers. They said, you have to take responsibility. I just hold that space for you and help keep you accountable. And sometimes we have a system to kind of support you in what you're doing, but it is good to have that other perspective. And that's kind of what I've recognized is it's good to have someone say, hey, have you looked at it from this perspective? There's always something else. You can flip the coin If you're looking at it from the negative side, flip that coin. What is the positive side? What is the other side of that? And recognize what you're thinking too. Is it true? So if I'm thinking all these negative things, if I'm having all these thoughts of, oh, I'm never going to get better, this pill isn't working, all these things that come to mind, is that true? Like, is it not working, or is it not working for me? And I need to change something, change something up in my process and what I'm doing in my life.
Very, very good. Very good. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I definitely noticed that, I'd love for you to talk on at least one more thing, and that was empowerment, because it really seemed as if when you started talking about the choice and being responsible and being proactive, all three of those things are forms of empowerment. That's what we should be doing for ourselves. How does somebody who feels as if the world is just taking over them and they have no power over anything, they're victims to every single thing, how do they gain that type of clarity and, even more important, that type of power?
Yeah, it is a process. The first thing I would say was you got to turn off the other voices. You really do have to figure out what you're saying to yourself. Whose voice is it? Is it all those people around you? Social media is great. Social media is awful at the same time. You really have to pay attention to what you're allowing in from that standpoint. But you have to look at who's around you. You kind of take on the 5 people that you're around the most. Is it a point where you have to kind of say bye to somebody? And that's okay. Allow that person to kind of move on, and you're going to move in a different direction. I was saying that one of the coaches has put on me is sometimes you have to separate to elevate. And that goes with everything in your life. For me, separating from some of the food choices, separating from some of the things that were bringing me down. But who are you listening to in your that voice in your head? Is it your inner cheerleader? Is it that inner mean girl or boy? Who is that? And what is that story that you're telling to yourself? 95% of our thoughts are on repeat. So if you're constantly having that negative thought, I'm not worth this, I can't do it, never going to work for me, that really will just kind of suck you down further and further and further. So you got to change that. You got to change your thought pattern. Positive affirmations, those are huge. Gratitude journaling. I actually didn't want to do it for years. I knew it was very beneficial. I've been doing it now for 3 years straight. All I have to do is think of 3 things. That's all. It could be simple things. Grateful for my water bottle. Grateful for the sun. Grateful for, the electronic computer that I can do things on. Simple things like that. But once you start focusing on the positive, then everything else kind of turns into a positive as well. And that's the empowering part. Like, when you recognize I'm worth all this, I think of everything I've done, time-wise, energy, money-wise, to invest in me, to invest in my house. I had a mold issue as well. So had to deal with another health issue with black mold toxicity on top of everything else I had kind of going on. So I'm worth all of this. I'm worth all the efforts, all the coaching stuff I've done, all the mindset shifts I'm doing, all the healthy food, prepping every meal. I'm 100% worth it. And so are you. Like, that's really what you need to recognize, that my empowerment comes when I figure out what my voice is and to realize that I'm worth all of this.
I love it. And what would you like to leave with the audience, like final thoughts, and how can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, my kind of theme of the year is it's the year for thriving for me. And with that, I'm creating kind of a platform and kind of a community where I want people to realize that they can have that healthy, enjoyable, abundant life. And that is, my acronym is HEAL. So that people can heal themselves. And it's taking that first step, awareness. Once you're like, oh, maybe that is something I need to kind of focus on, then it's the first step and move keep moving forward, that 1% progress, right? I'm not going to go from 0 to 100%. You got to do one little step at a time. And it's okay to give yourself some grace in those moments too, right? You're not going to change all that at once. It's hard to keep up with all of it. You'll fall back into patterns, and that's okay. You're learning, you're growing, and that's the part you want to keep moving forward. I'm growing 1% at a time, one step at a time. People can reach out to me. I am on Facebook. Heal Thyself Transformational Coaching has all my links that way. I'm on LinkedIn. You can search my name in that as well. I do have a group. It's the Heal Thyself community for burnout nurses and caregivers on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. But if anyone wants any of these, the information, if you just want to email me as well, I gladly will send you some links at healthyselfcoaching44@gmail.com.
Absolutely magnificent. Well, I thank you so much, Ann Brown, for being on our show today. It has been a pleasure speaking with you. And I love the way you talk about your process and what you're now doing. I mean, it's obvious that you know what you're doing to help other people by the way you speak about how you helped yourself. And I think that that's where it all starts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. My program is based completely off of what I've learned through my own journey of burnout recovery. So just here, ready to guide whoever needs that assistance.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, everybody. So that was Ann Brown. She's absolutely amazing. Wouldn't you say so? Heal Thyself Transformational Coaching. She has taken it upon herself to learn these things to heal herself. So even in her business name, she's talking about the processes that she has utilized to rid herself of concerns and difficulties. I love some of the things that she says. You know, what success means to you, something that you need to figure out. And she also said that one of the mindsets that you ultimately want to have is, I'm worth it. That's something that we all need to take home. We need to realize, you know what? I am worth it. I am worth whatever it takes to heal myself. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, as much as it starts with you, remember it starts with me. Peace. What was the process that you went through being on our show? And I'm grateful for everything that you shared with the listening audience today.